Ace, ace, three, Unsri, smashing this board. Unlikely that Unlu is going to be altogether interested from this point forward on the clubless texture. Checks it over. See that and take it. Or put not. $21 remaining of our original 96 players here at the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. Alina Jean and Brian Rast taking you through the final stretches of day 2 of the Triton Million Invitational. Those of you streaming us live, thank you for doing so. Always good to have you aboard, be it on Twitch, be it on the Triton Poker Plus app, or YouTube, where Rast and I do tend to keep an eye on the chat. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let us know by clicking like. For that matter, subscribe to ensure that you don't miss a moment of the finest in streaming poker entertainment.
It's like very obviously since it's like structured like, and the way it's been has just been like the same for like years.
Four players away, locking for $750,000. Which is good for them in cash. 17 pay, 12 million plus up top. So, trying for Celsius. Here we go.
Naki with suited ace. How's he gonna play it? Really have no idea.
Finding coverage unbeknownst.
Let's it go.
You surprised by that decision?
No, not really. My guess is he was either gonna fold or raise.
I mean, listen, he's keeping tabs. What's going on elsewhere in the field? He's currently 16th. 5 shorter stacks than his own out there.
He's been drifting down in chips.
Yeah.
In the last hour or two. It seems like he's playing conservative. In fact, that hand would definitely be evidence towards that thesis.
The U.S. that loves the sugar, they just kind of
You just tend to want to avoid the murky spots, right?
Yeah, or just, let's not take risks, try to cash.
Sure.
Yeah,
But,
it's pretty like
he might not be able to wait his way there.
they just like you do a long run, you do an interval run, you do 1 day of sprints, you do 3 recovery runs, and then you sleep a lot. It's like yeah, it's like and yeah, whatever you want. Yeah. But it's just like
Kulev.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick the ace-8. Now, Martirosian, King Jack. Direct left versus under the gun. In terms of stack depth, Kulev with such vapors here, how often is he going to be willing to rip it in, just given he's going to have to take a trip through the blinds with hands that the King Jack performs well against? Apparently,
Yeah, this
often
hand is,
enough.
This hand's an easy rep for Kulev. Sir.
But for Martirosian to call,
Yeah.
less simple.
It's close. I mean, he's pretty happy to call Kulev. The problem is more you have 5 people, I believe, behind that you have to worry about.
But he does manage to get it all the way back around without any further involvement. No one looking to squeeze. So on their backs they go. 1.5 million in the middle. Can Kulev stay alive here? He does have the lead, almost a 3-2 favorite. Heading to the flop. Seven, 6, 4. No cause for concern. To keep the artwork off the wall. That's Kulev's thought.
It's not everybody else in the tournament's thought.
No doubt about it. And as he wishes to keep it king and jack free, the deck shows non-compliance. Martirosyan showers the Bulgarian Alex Kulev. Not going to make the money here in the Triton Million. GG's issued, belongings collected, and hopes and dreams dashed.
Another one bites the dust.
Yep.
Another one bites the dust.
See, I would have gone with you into that next verse, as it were, but I didn't want to do it alone potentially if you pulled up late, so then I chickened out. It was kind
I
of
faked it like I was stopping.
It was kind of a karaoke dilemma.
Yeah.
Wouldn't call it prisoner, but So Martirosyan now sits 4.1 million, 20 bigs.
Average stack up to 4.8.
Petrangelo, by the way, far cry from that average 4.8. He's got just 4 bigs. And they're headed forward. 850 with the ace-10.
He is very likely to be called by somebody. Oh, yep, he is.
And what have we here? 2 jacks for Dan Dvoris.
He's in position here. He does have a covering stack behind him. Jang. Happy to see her get out of the way. Wow, Martirosyan's going to gamble here.
Well, he's putting those newfound chips to work early and lured in here, courtesy of the fact that Dvoris played the jacks as a flat from the button. And part of the calculus, I assume, is to provide himself an opportunity to play for some more in a side. Main pot complete. Top set for Dvoris. He's holding the deck.
Pretty grim for Petrangelo.
Forgive the obvious. Can very easily find himself drawing down on the turn. It's that backdoor wheel and Broadway prospects. It's going to be a very uphill climb. So we see Dvoris checking back in the hopes that Martirosyan will find an excuse on the turn to stay interested, which he very well may have. Courtesy of the 10 of spades.
Yeah, let's see what Archer decides here between check and bet.
Into the dry side comes 900,000. That is chunky off of 3-1.
And this is because it's a dry side. It's not as likely that this is a draw. It should increases Dvoris's odds of just flatting behind as a trap. Yeah, I like this. Artur definitely doesn't want to improve, and he also kind of wants to avoid a blank. His cards all might get in trouble on the river.
Divorce. Flatting, and now it's 9s and 10s on the end. Martirosian's goose may very well have been cooked by this river. What he thinks is gin. He concedes something more than tonic.
He doesn't have to be worried about Jack 10 or Jack 9. Check could get him in trouble here.
Surely Divorce, given the aggregate size of the pot, can quite comfortably ask for all of it? Or does he have to come with something smaller than 2-2?
I mean, 4.5, his total is in the pot. So, I mean, 2.2 is only like a half pot size bet. He will probably ask for all of it.
Oh, this is such a demoralizing revelation that awaits Artur. You saw him flip his cards face up, ready to proudly show the 2 pair for what he thought would be a winner, and instead puts the nail in the Russian's coffin.
Artur hoping his opponent Divorce there might bluff ace, king, ace, queen, both to win the side pot and because it might be good for the main. As well as potentially beating some value bluffs, hands like aces, kings. So Martirosian snaps and we have a double elimination here.
Yeah, kind of buried the fact that Petrangelo was out of there, given that he was drawing dead, courtesy of the turn. Now we flip back over where more violence brews. This time, Ben Heath, pipping the ace-9 of Stephen Chidwick, arrived at this point by virtue of a Chidwick min-raise open with the blinds at 100, 200. Heath flatting and defending from the big, then check calling a 550K follow-through. We are at the turn with Heath having checked. Now facing 1 million from Stevie. Heath makes the call. Pot up to 4.2.
Gonna guess the river goes check, check on.
Oh, look at that card. The bailout for Chidwick, the aggressor. Heath checks, and Chidwick very content to check back, sensing that it's either the ace or the 6. Otherwise, I'm not getting called. So where's the upside? You can see he doesn't show a lot of emotion at the table, Ras, but he kind of gave us a glimpse into what is understandable disappointment, given that his kicker was good. Now, more all-in and call collisions. This time, Ryan Feldman with the Broadway draw and the club draw against Lococo, who's got queens and a Broadway draw of his own. Feldman is covered. Now, all of a sudden, the 9 does the trick for him as well as he picks up outs. 32% equity with 1 to come.
This is the stone bubble, ladies and gentlemen.
18 left. Will Feldman find the help he needs? No. And the emotion taking over there. Sure, he'd love to pick the chair up and through the LED walls.
Sorry, Elliot. You know what he didn't realize? He said, if I knew that, I would have done it different. You know what he didn't realize? There was a double elimination at the other table. So all of a sudden they were on the stone bubble. He probably didn't realize it till basically he was all in and standing up looking over.
You know, I was going to say, Punsery's 4 blinds are staring him right in the face there because they're parked at his table. I mean, that in and of itself, Rast, is sort of a dissuasive reality, but it wasn't enough. And absent the realization that the stone bubble had suddenly come upon him, Ryan Feldman took a high variance spot, and here at his first ever Triton event and festival, gets the brutal designation being the bubble boy. That is $500,000 pure pain. Well, just like that, more in the money. Not Ryan Feldman, unfortunately, as he's the man that delivers a payday to the remaining 17. Lococo, man that do it. Right, that is, man. You know, it happens each and every single tournament that we talk about. But here in an invitational for $500,000 buy-in is a guy who, you know, had a golden little opportunity before him. First ever Triton. There's just an added degree of empathy that comes out of the booth for Ryan Feldman.
They're going to rebalance here. One of those players to the blue table is going to head over to red.
Yep. Be playing 6, 6, and 5. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of undisturbed rem when Feldman crawls into bed tonight. No. He might cannonball into the shark aquarium, you know, just to feel alive again. What do you think? No? You betting the don't?
I've been thinking about jumping in, and like there's a nice little like 5 meter, not the shark aquarium, but just like into the water below. Like it'd be a fun little jump. Have you walked like on
the water below?
Like when you're walking on the outside patio area,
Okay.
and it's like down into the whatever the little bay is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing about that.
Yeah, and I'm like, where would I go to get out? Like, gotta swim over to the side. I mean, there's all kinds of fun little things happening around
There's
this.
the turtle exhibit down there at the Royal. From what I understand, turtles really not predaceous. Most of their human interactions, I think, go fairly well. So you can always work your way into that. Obviously, we need to replace you in the booth. Yeah, big turtles. I mean, what if they're small turtles? Are you scary? I mean, I don't think they're snappers. I think they're just sea turtles.
Yeah.
You know?
Sea turtles are cool, or do they come and bite? I imagine big turtles, you don't want to get bit by them. Probably hurt.
I think they're kind of herbivorous.
Yeah. No, they wouldn't be doing it to eat you. It would more be like self-defense. Yeah. No, but they'd probably leave you alone. Right?
I think they're skittish. You know, I've been around a few. You know, they got a bad habit of getting straws stuck in their snouts. You know about this?
No.
Plastic straws. They're always.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. No, I'm not lined up for that experience.
Well, we have one stack that has like 4 blinds here, punchery.
Yep.
And the bubble broke, so he's going to be all in soon, ladies and gentlemen. He's got no incentive to wait anymore.
Yep. S.T. Wang and Stephen Chidwick, having the gridlock broken, find themselves playing one. Raise out of Chidwick, defense from the big ST. Just 9 highs, backdoor prospects, checks it over.
S.T. Wang is part of the only duo still alive, him and Mateos. So they, assuming they make it, they will not be at the same table next. Okay. That is, I think, the only guarantee that we have. They will redraw to 16 unless one of them busts. They will be at the same table. Makita is now
just got the Martirosian breakdown, or the double elimination that included Petrangelo being.
We know how that story goes.
Soaked up through the app now. Foxen's got himself all in. King 9 versus Ace 5. This was an open rip.
He gets a sweat too.
Yeah. From Socia, from the butt. Seen her do this a few times. Foxen finds the king. She's got a 5.
That looked like a 5. Right suit too.
Ace or 5, and the fun for Foxen.
11.
Secures a double. 4.3 plus. Remember, Foxen was the shortest stack in the room coming into this frame, sub 10 meters. Shaking that off quite well.
I kind of wanted him to be needling me, though. I feel like it gives me some kind of power.
Oh, jacks for Chidwick. Clicking, and now bats with perhaps an excuse. Ace queen off suit.
I mean, he has 18 blinds. It feels like it's jammed.
326.
Chidwick's gonna call, so here we go. A little pro on pro violence.
Yeah, the good news for bats is that he's going to have 2 neat overs. Bad news, of course, is that he's going to be covered with his tournament life at risk.
So we had this one today. Hands versus ace queen. We had hands versus ace queen. It's not normal.
So 7.7 plus. Looming in top set. Just a horrendous sight for bats, and it's all over. On the turn, he draws dead, wraps the table. Obviously on the right side of the bubble, Rast, and he will be the first to collect a payout, 7.55 million. Headed home with the Belarusian. Payout stays flat for 16th, and then we get the first jump, $37,000.
These min caches not inconsequential in terms of even just like a Hendon mob edition. Min cache for 750. Oh.
So look at the final 16. Going to redraw down to 2 tables. 8 and 8. That's how we'll be rumbling from this point forward. Going to take a little time to get there. Some administrative duties. Look at Vivaldi and the crew.
9 pros, 7 invitees, 1 pair still alive.
And the invitees have performed better than the pros of late. Looks like Punstreet's got all of his biscuits in the basket. On their backs, Lococo, the patron, dominating with ace-jack versus ace-4 suited. 2.35 in the middle. Punstreet finds an open-ender, so any 3, 4, or 8 would be the magic card to keep him intact. Now what Punstreet has in mind. Can he find the double through the deep stack Lococo? No. It's the ace. Jack kicker plays. No diamond. And it's all over for Punstreet. But off of 4 big blinds, Rast, he did manage to find the money as Feldman got showered. Definitely could have been worse for Punat. Another 755 payday.
And he got a ladder. Did he get up? No, he didn't get a ladder.
No. The ladder is now being enjoyed by the final 15. So 92,000 the next 2 payouts. You know, it kind of unraveled in a hurry. That ball of yarn was the gridlock on the stone bubble.
I mean, Lococo's just been on a run since he piled it in with Jack 10, and he's now the chip leader.
Yep. Having dethroned Texas Mike, it is Alejandro Lococo, who sits atop the leaderboard, 13 million in front of him, 12.75. Texas Mike not far behind. Welcome back to the desk. Ali and Rasty back with you. And well, Rast, let's chew a little bit on that Ryan Feldman situation. He's very hard on himself. He said, if I would have known what you picked up, presumably the rest of that sentence includes that there had been a double elimination and we were on the stone bubble. Maybe I don't take the high variance line. How hard would you be on yourself in a spot such as that? I mean, is it warranted? Is this a mistake here from Feldman that he's going to have to live with?
It's really hard to say sort of like what the timing of all of it was. I don't remember personally. Also, we're here in the booth. We're separate. You know, had the players busted and walked away, would you have had a minute to see it on the app before the hand started? Right? Or did it happen like while you were playing your hand? I think if it happened while after you had called while you were playing, very excusable. Like have a little kind of self-love and let it go. If maybe it had happened right before, you should have maybe really quickly checked the app, like right, you know, as it was getting raised to you to look, okay, well, two people are out. This changes what, you know, maybe you just fold it now. You don't even defend pre-flop with the 10-7 of clubs because, again, we're in the stone bubble and Punzri has 4 blinds.
Well, that's the thing that I wanted to chew on is let's say we remove the double elimination from the equation. If we're not on the stone money bubble, and yet we're looking out there at our table at the 4 big blinds of Punzri, which is one rung closer to the money that we can ascend to, if we weight that stack out, is Feldman's involvement something that maybe he needs to rethink? I mean, I'm not sure at what stage. Maybe it's the line where he doesn't take the high variance approach. Is Punzri's 4 big blinds enough to maybe leave us questioning or reevaluating the decision making from Feldman?
Well, you have to remember that we're 3 off the money
Before the double.
So Punzri can bust, and that still leaves 2 left, right? There'd be 19 people left at that point. And now it just gets into kind of a theoretical ICM question of exactly how much should you tighten up, you know, when you're X off the money with this many short stacks. So that it just becomes a technical question at that point, and he and his team can look into what they think about that. I am very certain that different players are going to have different answers to that exact question.
And therein lies some of the beauty left in this game, which, you know, parts of it have been solved courtesy of the Silicon Overlords, as you like to put it. There's still a lot to retain in terms of information. Also, still plenty of play remaining in the evening as we do wind things down from here at Atlantis. We're going to step aside and come back with 2 tables of 15. We'll unpack the new table draw and who is profiting and who is just hanging on. We come back in about 10. And welcome back. I know it wasn't 10 minutes, but rather 90 seconds, so forgive me for those that maybe aren't here as we come back to the desk. Table draw is still in progress, Raz. We're going to get that populated into the app. For the time being, we can dive right in. you look at the state of affairs. We talked about Argentina's Alejandro Lococo at the top of the leaderboard, 14.2 million now, the updated chip count for him. So he has put some buffer between himself and Texas Mike. Boris in third, Chidwick, Mateos, and Jane rounding out those who are above the average stack of 6.4 million. Then we scroll down and we find ST Wang, the only stack at under 10 big blinds, 1.5 million in front of him. With the pay ladders, as we look at the payouts here, not being particularly healthy, I assume that we're not going to see too much caginess from this point forward, Ras. There it is, 792 on lockup for the next two spots, and then just about 70,000 as we go to 865 for the two spots after that.
No, these pay ladders not super relevant. That said, we're already close to the final table, so there's still some ICM left. It's reduced a lot from the bubble, but it's still there.
Yeah.
These players will care about staying alive, and it will affect their play.
I mean, the mission is to get yourself into the top heavy part of the program as we bring you back inside Paradise Island here in the Bahamas, the Atlantis Resort and Casino, playing host to the Triton Million Invitational. Don't forget, by the way, tomorrow we crown the champion in the Million Invitational, but then we've got a Triton Main. 3 days of that will follow, 10th through the 12th. There is the redraw. Lococo finds himself with Monchek at his table. Mateos there as well. Dvoris able to be a chip leader with 57 big blinds, despite being third overall. So fortuitous in terms of table draw for him. And he's also got ST Wang's 1.5 million at his table, Ras. So I would say Dvoris performed well in the redraw.
Yeah, and so did Chidwick, for that matter, with 9 million and directly in position to Dvoris. Very nice for Chidwick, I'd say. And Lococo, yes, he's at the table with Mike, but he is in position. So.
That's yeah. I mean, he first told me he didn't
Back
know what happened.
underway. Lines of 100, 200, and 38 minutes remaining on the level and on the evening.
Actually, you guys will win.
Well, you can instantly feel the contrast energetically, Rast, once that bubble breaks, can't you? Everybody's so much more relaxed. Exhale.
Yeah.
Collective.
What a turnaround for Voxen. He was really kind of down to it after he lost that big pot and spun it up, making the money. And yes, he doesn't have a lot of chips, but he's 5.2 million now. He's just at an average stack 6.4. And boy, chance zeroing in on that very fact no sooner than you draw attention to it.
It's pretty dead to cash.
Nice. The table just validated my commentary.
Like you need the validation, Rest. Ace 10, though. Always nice when you're aligned with your peers. Dvoris. Not going to find any contrarians opening under the gun +1. The Ace 10 for the minimum. Corners in the big dominated.
Yeah, free to start.
Yeah, three.
Game 7 Trey. Product of defense from Chance. Checks over to Dvoris. How's that spade working hard?
Yeah, and this will be an interesting one by Chance. ace of spades and a relatively low kicker, this could find its way into a check raise. And in fact, I'd say it's a favorite. I want to bet on check raise versus bet this. Again, like ace jack, ace of spades, likely to call, but now a little more likely to raise.
Check raise as 200 becomes 575. DeBoris, best hand. This is supposed to be strong, just given what it represents in terms of chances remaining chips. So credit to Corneth. Earns that one with the worst hand.
Yeah, the ace of spades is such a strong hand, a card to have, because it blocks your opponent from having a pretty big class of hands there. Ace-X suited of spades, which are obviously not folding. So also gives you some backdoor equity when you are called. Nice play by Chance.
Yeah. Hold it around the Chance once more with an ace, this time in the small. Exit is a limp. Dominating James got Jack 4 suited. So checks back with C3. Six, seven, eight with a couple of spades. Players bad end of a gutter. Checks the best hand. Fires 300.
Don't think that's going to be enough to get Corneth out of here. I would expect. Wow.
It is, though. Credit to Socia, finding a little tickle. Take it down with the worst hand. You know, one of the things I love most about success at Triton Festival, Raston, I know you're a little bit shorter in the tooth than myself as far as your time and tenure in the booth here at Triton, is something that I'm sure you, even in spite of that reality, can also identify, and that is the progress and the evolution, in particular of invitees at each successive festival. Osmosis is a real thing. They're out there with front row seats, the best to ever do it, and they collect the ideas, as Sheldon likes to say.
Yes. Yes, they do. And, you know, you have a group of largely intelligent people who are quite good at things they apply themselves to, and many of them apply themselves to poker on some level. You know, maybe not as much as a professional, but they enjoy the game. They care. They're trying to get better. And as you pointed out, not only can they do that on their own, but they're exposed to great players who will give them ideas.
And they develop relationships. Also, there's a camaraderie of sorts. This rarefied air does afford the invitees and the pros being more friendly away from the Triton Festival. So you spend time with one another, and obviously a lot of poker discussion does take place during that time. Meanwhile, a couple of pros squaring off. Club on club violence, advantage Foxen before the flop, but now DeBoris, pair of fours on the flop, finds the lead.
I like that, Ollie. Club on club violence. It's nice. Yeah, ace high board versus the big blind. Do expect Fox in to see bet. Shows of larger sizing. One, I think DeVores will be pretty comfortable continuing yours. Middle pair, backdoor flush draw. It's too much kitten, as they say. Yeah, I'll let it go now.
Always mindful of kind of stack to pot ratios from this point forward. Fox with 4.4. Morris finding the call, bringing a pot to 2 million, and Fox finding the best hand on the turn with this king.
Fox with decisions here. Definitely his hand is not good enough to get 2 streets of value unimproved. But, you know, do you check back and cap your range frequently? Or do you go ahead and bet again with a pretty big range advantage on the king turn? It could definitely be played either way.
Let's go check, check. Backdoor hearts arrive. Wheel, an option as well. Where's his hand? Withering. Fine.
Fox can't really have a 3 or a 4. I mean, maybe the only hands that have that would be ace 3 or ace 4. So it's not that relevant that he has a 4 versus a 3. He is towards the bottom of his range, and so I think this is kind of a bluff, mostly designed to get hands like sixes through queens, potentially even a king to fold.
150K. Foxen does find the fold. Wow, how about that? Credit to DeVores. Finding the muscle needed. Vacate pair of kings.
Looks like Fox doesn't have any time banks.
You should just try to make the final table.
So I think the idea that he used a little bit more time to chew on that one.
My soldier didn't put me in so many spots.
Pocket sevens now for
My time banks.
less.
Look at those hands. It looks like you did it to yourself.
One, the one I use the most on.
Still thinking about
Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna say, Sosie looked really happy about that.
You
See the smile.
He didn't put you in any tough spots.
Yeah, obviously proud of being able to put someone like Foxen in the blender with some of her choices. Eventful ways to take their
Spot that was supposed to be tough for her. She called me for my chips at the Phelps.
Ace queen ace six one. Yeah. Try to catch your tips in midair.
But yeah, I was like, check.
Nine suited. Yang has been rather aggressive toward the latter part of the evening. Granted, on the outside of the bubble, she was trying to accumulate. Here, she kind of maintains a lot of aggression. 10-9 suited, emboldening her from the cutoff to make it 4.25. Foxing with Jack 10. Friends. Seven, 6. So see the gut shot. Club on board. 1-1 plus in the middle.
Hand's dominated. But this will be a good flop for her. She should win it with a C-bet. We'll see how Foxy continues.
400,000. Where are we going from here? Into the bin. Jack 10. Dispensed. It's been a long day for these gladiators. Obviously rewarded all the stamina required by finding the money here in this million. And hopefully finding a bag as well. Steve Wang just 5 big blinds here, hoping they can get some rest and try to spin it up tomorrow.
I know. No. Yeah. I was not complaining. I was complimenting you on moving all my time extra.
Round to go, says Corneth with ace jack.
Corneth's photo over there makes it look like, I feel like it's like he's died and he's got this aura around him or something.
Was it in a prize fight, just given maybe his nose was split open? I know what you mean, that weird, like, on a church program or something, you're like, we're here to celebrate, remember Mother Mary.
Brother Chance.
Right.
He lived a full life.
Corneth, by the way, also among those who are here at their first ever Triton, Lococo, Monchek. And what a way to announce yourself. 3 of the remaining 15. 20% of the field. Triton first timers. Fox. He's suited enough on the button. He's not particularly deep. He's so fearless. One down and be 2 down momentarily, I would imagine. Even though ST hates to say goodbye to 2 big blinds of the 5 he started with, Ras 7-3 all so dusty.
Yeah, I think you can find a fold here with 7-3 off. It is versus the dealer button. So it is against a wider range than earlier position. Might be one thing ST is considering. Oh, yeah.
I think he wants to shoot.
Should have been a rough go.
I get it. Yeah. Hold on. Did you call? You shouldn't have learned.
So demoralizing. I mean, obviously for ST, he's thrilled to be on the right side of the bubble, but he wants to fight. You know, if this was a cash game, he wouldn't be sitting around with 3 big blinds. He would have reloaded. He would have been right back in the saddle, but no bullets with which to duel for the time being for ST.
He is half of the last remaining pair.
Mateos' partner?
Yes.
Flip it around. Top DDA's button. 10-8 off. Reads him.
This is almost certainly getting played.
Yeah, all in, an ace-9 offsuit. Well worth it. Dominating Corneth. Chance, by the way, I mean, 650, not inconsequential. Obviously, able to fight on a 3.2 should things not go his way, which they don't rate to. 71-27, the advantage for ST. Can he find the late night double? 1.5 million in the middle, and a cut shot for Corneth. Gotta fade the queen and the jack now if you're ST.
Reserve the equity from pre-flop pretty close.
Now, moves to 91%. And the 8 locks it up. ST has 8 bigs. Let's call it. Back over to the only other table in the room. You can tell this has been a grueling affair. By the way, how about David Einhorn? Rast, you know, we kind of touched on it on more than one occasion throughout the course of the day, but this is a man who busted his first bullet of 500,000 within the first few hands of day one. Ace King versus Aces, propelling Jared Blesnick into an early double and a massive chip lead. Since then, however, he has fought and scrapped on bullet number 2, and he has found the money. And here he is with Ace-9, finding the jam with 2.5 million Maggie in the hijack. Ace-10. He is covered, and you see the reluctance. He does fold the Ace-10.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this jam is wide. 12.5 bigs under the gun, 8-handed. It even got a better hand to fold. Yeah, but
well, remember, I mean, a lot of times we do see leaner stacks consider the idea that they're going to be dusting off 2.5 bigs, going through the big and the small blind, and if they think the hand is good enough, they'd rather use the full clip under the gun in particular, leverage it all to try to find an orbit's worth of tokens. That's exactly what Einhorn successfully did just there.
I hear you. But going through 7 people and you get called with Ace-9 off there, you are toast.
Yeah.
OAST. Toast.
You know, you're definitely puckered as the action moves around you. But I give you King 10. He'd rather be a man jamming than a man calling off, and that's evidenced by what we're observing here. 2.35 deployed. He's asking for a count. Is this a slice of TO AST? Perhaps it's about to greet Nagy. A call.
Oh, he's coming, but unfortunately for Ben, he's not dominating. I mean, 3 times 2 live cards. It's going to be like, what, 62-38 or something like that? 63-37. He does cover both suits, so those are only 1% odd type of deals. Running out of 4-card flush.
Heath is going to jam ever so slightly over the top. He'll pull back some of it, and then he'll be delighted to see he's got the big advantage. Better than 3-2. 2 clean cards for Nagy. It could be worse. Five, 1, and Lee and Chip pot. Will there be even more carnage still in store? With very little time remaining on the evening. With 10 in the window.
Yeah.
Nagy jumps in front. Gotta dodge not just the ace of jack, but the king as well. Broadway draw.
Odds to 180. Fell out to the one favorite.
Ouch. That turn card improves negative kings and tens, but it gives Heath Broadway. And now the pressure back on Phil to find a king or a 10 to fill up and keep his seat. And he cannot do it. GG's issued. Is in a late day 2 bust out for Phil. He will collect the payout. $792,000, which will remain flat. 15th and 14th.
Is that right? Good for you. I changed my time menu. Okay, 5 take 5.
Now 14 remain. Man, it is starting to get pretty quiet out there. Obviously, part of it is the sort of fallen comrade effect. You see Nagy fought hard, represented the invitees well, being showered, then also just not a lot of fuel left in the tank. Obviously, you could be running on adrenaline if you're toward the top of the leaderboard. If you've just been hanging on, scrapping, it can be a grueling day of poker. Tails gets a walk. We'll talk to his chat as we wind the evening down. Let us know what's been your favorite part of this event thus far, not just on day 2, but if you were along for the ride on day 1. What's been the highlight? Who are you cheering for? What was the worst beat of the day? I'd love to hear your take. Queen suited for Alejandro Lococo. Richards is an early candidate. Says Luis Estrada for play of the day. Bluff he pulled off against Bads. Been milling it in his face. Einhorn now rips in 2.5 once more. Remember that Nagy, who busted out moments ago, had the opportunity to call off, covered by Einhorn ever so slightly with an ace-10. He would have been in much better shape, as it turns out, than he was versus Heath. Introduced him to his maker. Here, Lococo. Deliberate. Is King Queen of Diamonds worth an extra 2.1?
And he calls. There's 5.55 mil in the middle. It's running. It's pretty close.
Right. There'll still be casualties to come. Has the edge by 9%, and now more than that on the Deuce 4-5 Rainbow board. Just paint free, just the way Einhorn likes it. $14 million at one point in time. Could be down to 11 and change unless he finds a king or a queen. He does not on the turn. Nor does he do so on the river. So the Greenlight Capital founder stays in the hunt. And I gotta wonder, like, for everybody employed over at Greenlight Capital, do they know bosses out here in the Bahamas rumbling in a $500,000 buy-in? Are they sweating? Let us know if you're in the chat. Obviously, it's a school night. Gotta be at the office tomorrow, downtown. But, you know, I don't think you would be getting in any trouble if maybe you're a few minutes late because you were sweating. Boss down here doing his thing.
Feels like a ready-made excuse.
Maybe there's an office party right now going on.
Yes.
You know, a little watch party.
You're at the watch party, then the excuse is built in, but just show up the next day and you're like, yeah, I'm an hour late. I was watching Boss last night.
Maybe they're on a Zoom. Maybe everyone's at home in bed on a Zoom, you know, iPad in hand. Now looking for a spin, and he's running to kings. 2 10s. At least he was deep enough on this occasion not to just open rip it. That's the good news. As he clicked it.
Well, I mean, no, he's going to call an all in.
Oh, a lot of excitement here.
The good news for Einhorn is that he has almost 3 million more, so he'll be fine. He loses his spot.
Yep.
82% of the time.
I mean, if this hand had emerged, though, a moment ago, before he found the double through Lococo, it would have been a very different potential outcome for him. But a roller coaster ride impending here as we get back over to Einhorn. Did he already make the call? Yeah, there it is. Kind of shrugs his shoulders and will accept. It's just a hand of poker that's sort of playing itself. Sometimes green candles are followed by red ones. Without a 10, that'll be the case here, one would imagine. Cards are covered for Ulu. At risk, but sitting pretty. 9-1 plus the advantage with 2 to come. Try to board off 10s. Success on the turn. Just 1 card away from a late day double, something Einhorn knows a thing, in fact, 2 things about. As we observed, it is Sinan's turn. Wash that one down and come out the other side with north of 5 million.
Well, that was fun.
As long as the cooler comes on the back of a couple of heaters. Average temperature remains balmy. Camp Einhorn.
Oh, we finished today?
All right, so official word coming down that the level will be concluded, and then play will officially come to a
But they said
close.
either 20 levels or final. I wasn't super likely that we have 5 levels.
Just about 5 minutes away. Draw the curtain.
Some of the days was
Day
5 minutes
two.
like that. Nothing of the same position. So many players. Maybe less players. Yes. Oh, I like it. Yeah. I want to play now.
Well, it looks like Mateos still has gas in the tank. Well, no. Puts the new chips to work with King 5 suited from the pug. Ponikov's got flat with the A7.
6.
Covers ever so slightly.
Yeah, that was a long time. Yeah. I played Red Sox like 2 bonds. Probably starts at 10.
Jack 7 deuce. Ponikov's pairs. Sit over to just ignore spades, really.
Yeah.
Of note.
Yeah.
Take a swing though. This is a fairly dry texture. $350K.
마리는 무조건 이기네.
Ponikov's probably not looking to play anything dramatic.
No, not at this stage. Maybe for chips, he would consider check raise type plays there on the flop, but not right now.
So sure enough, the flat of 350.
This card,
Pairs.
yeah, could get Ulu in trouble. Might end up calling a river bet on a blank. Assuming this probably goes jack-jack.
하, 진짜. 야.
And it does. Oh, and running fives as Ulu somehow finds trips and the W. Now, as played, I don't think Ponikovs fears the jack, and he definitely isn't supposed to fear the 5, so maybe with 1-9 in the middle, he goes for value, or does he check and deuce? What do you like?
My guess is he's going to go for value here.
Yeah, given the check back on the turn from Ulu, you could see a lot of shutdowns, so it, some high card hands looking for cheap opportunities. Instead, it's going to cost Ponikov's 950,000. It comes with half pot.
I have to think the raise is incoming as played. King 5 just feels like such a strong hand. Be a little bit disconcerting to Ponikovs. It doesn't make a ton of sense as a line. Then again, how often are people really bluffing here also? One of those situations where it's unlikely as it feels when you can rule out all other options. Just left with what remains. And that is probably made 3 5s. But I'm not really sure if these guys have history. Have they played together before?
So the all in gets counted down. This was a pre-flop raiser who followed through for 350 on a dry flop, knuckled back on the turn, and all of a sudden has risen up on the river. This is a covering jam on a course. Has to make a decision for his tournament life. They come back and play day 3 or click call and emerge among the fallen. Well, he's going to let it go. And when the opportunity comes around for him to examine and reflect, I'll be quite pleased. Avoided elimination.
Well, I get to find out the answer. Here it is. It's on stream. You just gotta wait 30, 40 minutes. There it is. Nice hole.
Daniel pointing out, by the way, that Ponkoffs did have Lulu slightly out chipped, so these sorts of things are relevant. Apologies if we got the math wrong by the FEB there. Thank you, Daniel, for that.
That Lulu had him out chip, right?
Apparently, it was the other way
Oh, you're
around
saying
because
Ponkoffs
I
had
didn't
much.
have,
Okay.
you know, the bet of 950 factored into the fact that
okay.
Lulu had jammed, so a little oversight on my part. Never lost on the chat, though. Always on top of things. That's why we love having you guys out there streaming us live. There goes Ace Jack. Raise, as you see, players not looking to stick around and spectate, just getting themselves together for a quick trip to bed, I would imagine, with a long day ahead of them tomorrow. The quest for 12 million. The Coco seeds. Mateos will take the final hand of the night here at one of the 2 remaining tables as we burst the bubble and then some here in Atlantis. 14 remain, $792,000. The next payout, a ladder of almost 70K, will be on tap. Make the top 13. There are the remaining 14 split across the 2 tables. Back here at the desk, Alina, John, and Rasty ready to put some final thoughts on things. Rast, yes, polite in the thing, not just for those out there that have been doing it, but those in here calling it on the evening as well. Did ask the chat for their most memorable moments. The Lococo bluff, that was the big candidate, I guess. Is it the one number 1 for you as well? Yeah, and he's still in the field, and he's got heaps. Let's get a quick peek here, if we will, at the remaining stacks. Texas Mike back in front as Lococo slipped off of his high water mark. Now sits in third, just shy of 11 million. DeVoris has inherited second place, not far off the pace set, as 3 Triton first-timers are still in this field. 6.9 million, the average stack. Shortest in the room is ST Wang, still sitting there, 5 big blinds. He did find a double, but he's going to need plenty more help when we come back to do it again tomorrow. You ready for bed?
I am. Yeah, it's been an exciting day of poker, and tomorrow we have the final table, but we ought to get some rest so we can sweat this proper.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So don't forget, set your clocks. 1 o'clock local time here in the Bahamas. That's East Coast time in the U.S. And then do your math from there is when we're going to kick things back off and we're going to play down to a winner on day 3 of this Triton Million Invitational. On behalf of the entire team here at Atlantis and Rasty, we say goodnight. To see you.
야, 진짜 대단하다, 대단해. 진짜 대단하네. 쓰네. 네, 뚜시 다시.